And they hear
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another edition of the countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Steady. With me on this episode is the man, the myth, the legend. You know him as JC.
Hey, everybody. And yes, we would have also accepted episode as another E word you could have used there. So glad you picked one.
Edition, episode, whatever else you can figure out. Yeah, it's been a long, crazy day for geek news, so I can't wait to talk about it. And we also got the man behind the magic, the one and only Joe Garcia. What's going on, Joe?
Oh, nothing, man. Just watching Ted's Alzheimer's set in really nice.
Let me get another sip of my Remember Juice. Hang on.
Sure, we call it Remember Juice.
All right, fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Listen, we got a great show for you guys. We can't wait to talk about Masters of the Universe. We all checked out the Netflix series featuring He-Man and the gang, except for JC, who had an Astros game or something to watch.
Oh, the weekend. Well, for one thing, I was getting together with Mike's family to celebrate his 40th birthday.
Yeah.
And a lot of his family I hadn't seen in a while, so that was nice to do. And then been kind of redoing my whole office here. You guys can't see it from here, but my wife and I got some new desks. We're kind of moving things around, so that's kind of taking up a lot of my time.
It looks all fuzzy. I can't tell.
For a good reason, because it's pretty shitty right now. So that's why I went with the blurred background.
That means the stimmy must have hit. I'm just playing.
Stimmy's hit. Now it's just got enough interest in the savings account. So yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Helping. Yeah.
We also got a ton of other stuff to talk about. Some things that might be borderline spoiler territory, so I'm going to be sure and warn you guys before I talk about any of that stuff. But we got some Marvel news to talk about. We have some DC Comics news to talk about, as well as several DC rumors and other news regarding some of the films that are coming up pretty soon. But first, we're going to talk about some geeky weekly headlines that I did not expect to be talked about today. The first of which is regarding a franchise that we all love very dearly, and I'm talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a story released today that Colin Jost, as well as his brother Casey, Colin Jost, the SNL cast member, very widely known,
Oh, that's what he does.
also married to ScarJo. That's probably how we most know him these
That's
days.
how I know him. Lucky bastard.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. He has been hired to write a new live-action Ninja Turtles film for Paramount Studios. Michael Bay is returning as a producer for the project, and this is actually separate from the other story that we talked about, where Seth Rogen is actually writing an animated feature film. So that's not related to this one by any means, but we are getting a brand new Ninja Turtles film. It's going to be live action. Colin Jost is writing it. And my question to you, gentlemen, is, and for the sake of continuity, do you prefer a new TMNT film to follow the last two Michael Bay films, or does this whole thing need to get rebooted? And do we need to see a brand new, fresh take on the brothers? Joe, let's start with you, man.
No, man, you need to burn the whole damn thing down. That Michael Bay nonsense was an abomination. It was horrible. Um, yeah, you just need to start from scratch. Give us something good. Like when you look at the intro as far as the upcoming video game goes, the
Yeah,
animation in the beginning, that's dead on from what you're seeing way back in the 80s. That's kind of what everybody's wanting at this point in time. They're kind of wanting that retro vibe. Doesn't mean that it has to be an exact duplicate, but you can
yeah.
make something new, but still has that kind of retro vibe that everybody's looking for right now. And I think that's maybe what they need to do. Go take a look at what actually worked back in the day and just do something new with it. It's not really hard, but you just got to have the right people that have the vision and can craft such a film that will appease the fans.
All right. I agree with most of that. I actually like that fact. So Joe's all about turning this thing upside down. Let's reboot the whole damn thing. I know you say the first two were abominations. I
The Michael
do
Bay
think
ones.
I do think the second was actually a lot better than the first one. The first one had a lot of issues, in my opinion, story wise, character wise, villain wise. But the second one I think was a big step up. Not perfect by any means, but I think it was a worthy cause.
That's gonna be like
JC,
comparing these Venom movies that are coming up, dude. And the first one was bad. We're gonna get into that, but the
first one was
second one,
entertaining.
no, no, I'm done with that. So no,
Oh man! All right, JC, what about you, sir? For the sake of the new film, do you need a continuation from what's already been done the previous two times, or do you just want to scrap this whole nonsense and start fresh?
Um, the only for the reason you say it's going to be live action, I don't know how much CG they're going to use on this, and if it's going to be a completely different look. If it's a different look, maybe you have to scrap it. I don't share the views of Joe's hater cult as far as how bad the Michael Bay ones were. I thought they were humorous.
JC just likes bad movies, man.
No,
It's
hold
all
on, hold on.
good.
I will say this: the first one holds a special place for Tina and I because after the birth of our daughter, when we finally got a date night, that was the movie we went to see. And I can't remember the last time we got the movies before that, when she was pregnant. So we enjoyed that movie. It was good to laugh. I had my mom watching our daughter and us not worrying too much about it. So uh, that and I thought they were good. They were just fun. And I think Joe just hates on movies where he's not the target audience. It seems like, but
No, man.
um,
It
with
doesn't have any good legs to stand on. I'm not watching it. I'm gonna call it
as,
how it
as
is.
as far as this seemed to be the trend in Hollywood, reboot it, reuse it, reshoot it, and
No,
redo
don't
it.
do
And
that. Give me something new, man. Give
but
me something new.
hold on. If Colin Jost is going to do it, I know he's a comic or a comic kind of guy, SNL writer.
Yeah.
I want to see a dark Ninja Turtle story.
There you go.
You can have the comedy, but when you look at the original comics,
Yeah.
some of the stuff was pretty dark. And if they go that route, you can have a lot of fun with it. I
Ooh,
think you can
rated R, JC? Rated R movie.
I won't go that
Couldn't-
far.
you
Maybe
couldn't get away with
PG-13. Maybe PG-13, especially with the Nickelodeon studios being involved.
Absolutely.
But my interesting question to this is, considering what his wife is going through, do you think they would put this on Paramount Plus and a theatrical release at the same time?
We're years away from release, right?
I
We're
know, but I
yeah,
just
so
throwing that
early
out
into it. So I'd say fall 2023 is probably earliest we're thinking about. But yeah,
Probably theatrical.
um,
Yeah, Paramount Plus
Well, I got
3 months
a twist for
later.
you guys.
probably.
Why doesn't the studio do something bold? Start it off as a
What's that?
series and then lead it into a movie that's going to have a theatrical release.
Because
You
that
could
takes years to develop.
it still would be worth it though. I mean, if you could give a series that the fans are going to get behind and get interested
Nick,
in.
you know why? Because Nickelodeon. That's why Nickelodeon owns these rights, and they want their series to be on their network, and it has to be targeted towards a specific audience, and that's the Y7 group.
Even
That's the
though
idiot.
Viacom owns Nickelodeon and Paramount and all that stuff, and they kind of do what they
Yeah,
want. I mean,
I mean, you can still
you
make a
know,
good series even though you have your target audience as, let's say, tweens or younger kids. I mean, look what Disney's doing with some of their series. They're still
I,
rocking it.
yeah, I wouldn't mind a new potential series, but my thought is, hey, you could write a new animated series for Paramount Plus. I'm not saying it has to be in the vein of Harley Quinn on HBO
Oh
Max,
man.
but it's a welcome change. You kind of update the story. Prime example, I'll give it. If you watch, and I know Joe hates me to mention this, if you're to watch iCarly on Paramount Plus,
Oh.
it's a stark difference from iCarly years ago on Nickelodeon as far as the themes of the show, what they're getting into. And so if you kind of make an animated series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Paramount Plus for like what we grew up with, but maybe something we're into now and kind of go from there, you got something good on your hands. So,
Well, look at what
yeah,
they did with that Star Trek Below Deck. That was pretty funny. I don't know if you caught that on Paramount
that's pretty
Plus.
funny.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm actually interested though.
Yeah,
I actually need to watch. There's apparently a series on HBO Max about. It's an animated series, but it's a parody about the Crown, the British royal family, and it's told from the view of one of the sons of one of William's sons. But
Oh
it's
God.
completely animated and it's caricatures. It's so interesting. I would love to watch it just for that. So,
oh,
but
I got to talk to you off air, JC. But I saw a new series come out, and I got to get your thoughts
if
on
it's
that.
F Boy Island, I already know.
Yeah, yeah. I got to talk to you
Yeah,
off air about that. Yeah.
listen,
Yeah,
I have a
F
reality.
boy off
We
there.
reacted to the trailer. T and I watched the first 3 episodes. Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about it this Thursday. Believe me, it's going to be good. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Lastly, I'll say I don't mind a third film to kind of make this whole Michael Bay verse a trilogy for these turtles. I don't mind the characterization of the Ninja Turtles. I think it works to some extent. We just really need to have a better dynamic between them. The first one fell apart. That dynamic between the brothers fell apart completely. They tried things that just fell flat, some emotional beats that didn't work because they weren't fleshed out. The second one done a lot better in my opinion, and yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited
the
to
first
see
one
what
didn't
they can
focus.
do with this.
First one didn't really focus on the turtles. It was more
No,
about April and her family ties and everything like that. So that I think that's why the second was so good because it was about the turtles,
there
and
you go.
April played a supporting role in that.
Awesome, awesome.
I don't even remember
Uh,
what the movie was about. It was so bad. It was forgettable, much like Venom.
Venom, Venom. Oh, we got to talk about Venom today too.
Yeah,
Yes, we are.
yeah, we are.
Not quite yet, not quite yet, but yeah, we got to talk about Venom as well. Let's see here. I wanted to ask you guys something regarding Loki. This was actually revealed because many questions still have to be answered. And so Kate Herron, the director of the Loki series, has been really busy doing interview after interview, and she's not holding back. She's not holding back from any questions that are coming her way. And so, in a recent interview with director Kate Herron, she was asked flat out, because of what we saw, and this is spoilers for Loki if you haven't seen the whole thing, right?
Mhm.
Based on what we saw in the finale episode of Loki um, meeting He Who Remains, the question was asked to her based on saying he paved the way for Loki and Sylvie to come to his domain and to give them this opportunity to kind of take over the TVA, be the guardians of all this power, if you will. Does that mean the entire MCU Infinity Saga is basically been planned out by He Who Remains? Every single step, every single action, every single event, all by He Who Remains. And her answer was actually, I suppose, well, by our show's logic, yes. Because he says, I paved the road, you just walk down it. I guess in theory, he would have scripted that because by our show, that's what we're saying. Everything has been predetermined by this one character.
Mhm.
Even if up to this point, we believe the characters to have had free will, which I think is kind of the fun rug pull of our show, right? That's director Kate
Much.
Herron of
So it's the
Loki.
Matrix, basically.
Yeah,
You know?
this is the Kentucky guy, right?
Yeah, this was Neo going to the architect and realizing, hey, the problem is choice, right? And that's kind of what He Who Remains left. That was kind of reminiscent of that scene. The problem was choice in the
Yeah,
end.
and
You know?
I would even because it's very similar, right? But I think that in some aspects, I think one of the main mantras of the Matrix was fate and destiny are real, but they're all real on the choices that you make, that choices that you were going to make. That's what the mother would always say, and the father would always say, like, "You're just gonna come to me, you're one, and whatever." And this always happens. But
Right.
in this case, the way I took the finale of Loki, and I went straight to Twitter and I laid this all out, kind of almost exactly how she did. Loki and Sylvie don't meet He Who Remains unless the entire Infinity Saga occurs, and that doesn't start with Iron Man, even though that was the first movie, and that doesn't start with Captain America: The First Avenger, even though that's theoretically the oldest movie in the timeline. It goes all the way back to Thanos. It goes back to the destruction of his home planet. It goes back to his motivations, starting from wanting to, take half of all life, gathering all the Infinity Stones, amass this power in order to all do this. That is the beginning of the Infinity Saga. The Avengers just kind of fell into this whole plot that's been lasting probably hundreds of years. So in the only reason why Loki and Sylvie end up on the doorstep of He Who Remains is because all of this has been planned in advance in order for Loki to even get to that point. There probably could be other ways, right? Or maybe this is the only way it would have worked. And so, yeah, He Who Remains is basically the reason why the Infinity Saga exists. And that's pretty trippy. The way she explained it is having the rug pulled out from under us. Yeah, I agree. That's a bold decision to give all the responsibility to just one character who we've just met for the first time. But I also think it's pretty dope, and I like it a lot.
But
Joe, oh, go ahead, JC.
but it wasn't just one character. He was dealing with other versions of himself, and he's the one that ended up kind of winning to keep him from getting chaotic.
I,
And
I
that's
I agree to a certain I agree to a
yeah.
certain point, but
Mhm.
he's also been in this seat of power for eons, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even like it didn't even just happen when he sits in this throne, when he has all this power. It's just like him using a different console. This console's for the 90s, this console's for the 60s. I can just turn this one on, do few things over here, and like off it goes, domino effect. This all flows down this way. And so yeah, he has the keys to everything, and he's been doing this for millions of years. So it's trippy. It's trippy. And now that he's out of the way,
Mhm.
free will across the board.
Or so we
Everything
think.
else,
Yeah.
yeah, everything else is up for grabs now, or at least what we think. But yeah, Joe, your thoughts on this revelation by Kate Herron?
I ain't buying it, dude. Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just
It's
gonna tell
from
you.
the director.
You believe everything somebody tells you? I don't.
Yeah,
No,
that's why I got vaccinated.
I don't.
oh god,
I'm not
no.
buying it. I'm not buying it.
Oh
I don't
god,
believe what
man.
she says. I just don't
That's
understand. I just don't believe it.
primary source. That's a primary source to it.
I don't care. I just don't believe it.
Primary
So
source.
you're gonna tell me that every single thing that every single character did in the Marvel universe, this guy was out here in his little castle where he's been banished, hiding out, and he's going to
man,
pull
it's what I
some.
was hiding.
How do you
Yeah.
know?
He
We don't
he
know that.
owns it.
Because that
We
was the
don't
whole
know that
point.
yet. We don't know that
He
yet.
owns it. What do you
He
mean,
was
He
at,
who
man?
remains, he
he was at
remains
the end
there.
of time. He was
He
at the end of time.
he
He
remains
wrote,
there, but it doesn't say that he killed the other people. It doesn't. They never mention that.
It does. The TVA does that.
yeah.
The
If I could, if
TVA,
I
but they
if I could explain
supposedly
though,
he created it. Okay.
if I could, no, but okay, he definitely created the TVA,
Mhm.
and what we should already expect is that the rules the TVA lives by is not the true rules that He Who Remains creates. His rules are set so that this timeline gets Loki to the end of time to meet him. That's all it is. Also, plus the branches and all that mess, right? I think it's a dual thing. We don't
Uh,
want any other Kangs coming around knocking on my door, but I also need this Loki to meet this Sylvie, and they need to come
so they can
into
come to
my
your
castle.
castle and kill you. All right. Yeah, I'm not buying it, dude.
No, not to kill him.
He
Not
gave
to
him a
kill him.
choice. He gave him a choice to
He
do that.
really did.
Yeah.
I honestly
But
believe it was an honest, genuine choice, a decision that he made. You can choose red pill or blue pill.
mhm.
It's up to you. But if you kill me, that's on you.
you
And
could
whatever
re
happens, happens.
you could reinsert yourself in the matrix and the cycle begins again, or you can go and save Trinity. The problem is choice.
Yeah.
And he gave him a choice because think about it. He dodged out of the way when they tried to kill him before because he knew it was coming. But when he gave him the choice, he didn't resist when Sylvie killed him.
Because he knew what was going to happen up to a certain point. Even he didn't
Yeah.
know. So he, like you said,
But
okay, he
he
gave him
gave
a
him a
choice to
choice.
do because he didn't even know what was going to happen at that
No,
point.
because he hadn't written it.
If they had wanted
Yeah.
to kill him or fight with him, they probably would have been more of an even playing field at that juncture. You know. But
Yeah.
all I'm saying is, there's a lot of other versions of Kang that still exist throughout the
The more
universe.
violent ones.
You
The more
know.
violent
Now,
ones. That's what they tease with the fact that once they got to the point where he hadn't written anything anymore, things went haywire because nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah, but
He
I'm
couldn't
saying
keep
up to that point, there's still
time.
other Kangs that exist in the universe
Right.
alongside him. You know,
Because
and
now there's a TVA.
now,
no,
There's
but
a
I'm
TVA.
saying that's the thing is he's not the
now
only
there is.
one left. There's other
He
versions of
Was
himself.
until shit hit the fan.
No, there was
okay.
other versions of him left. Like I was telling you guys, and the way that the timelines work, you can't go forward or backwards in time, but you can always go sideways in time, meaning that there's
Mm,
other variants that happen, much like we see with the timeline. Oh, and they don't want it to go beyond this certain point because that's when things become chaotic. But I'm saying beyond those points in time, those universes or those realities are already existing. So there's other versions of Kang that still exist. The thing is that he's at the end of time because I understand he wants to manipulate things to a certain degree on the timeline that he's at. Because if he can
yeah.
do that, he's keeping trying to keep the peace, between like he was saying, these multi-universal wars that are going to break out and destroy the fabric of reality and everything else that ensues along with it. So I get that, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, there's other realities of Kang that are still in existence at the same time as the one who remains.
You know what? I
Well,
honestly
we're
think,
existing in the
and
past. I can kind of see that. Yeah.
this is how I've only been able to kind of come up with a good visualization of how this time works because Joe already knows this sacred timeline isn't a line, right?
No.
Joe knows it's a circle.
Yeah. You see that at the
We've
end.
all been told it's a circle. So the way that I picture it, think of a bicycle wheel. You know what you have? You have it going across the center of the bicycle wheel is you have all these spokes, right?
Right.
And those spokes keep that frame up. And so he who remains keeps those spokes in place to keep all other Kangs in their place. They can't do anything. They can't step out of line. The minute one of these Kang variants gets too far, gets too smart, too powerful, TVA can take them out. That's the whole reason why they're here. That the TVA is his protection, because that's what it is. As
Right.
soon as he's gone, he who remains is out. Those spokes are no longer there.
Well,
And this
the
frame
TVA is a
and this
protection of the
frame,
sacred timeline, Ted. That means
that's
that
the lie, Joe.
no, I'm
Listen,
saying, look it,
that's the
they're
lie.
protecting he who remains. They're protecting
Yeah, they also
that
told you there was
reality.
three. They also told you there was three Time Lords watching this whole deal.
Timekeeper.
It's not timekeepers. It's not the whole truth. The whole truth
Yeah.
is this is his personal bodyguard.
The
That's what
TVA is
it
his
is.
personal bodyguard to protect his personal space in that reality. I'm saying there's
From
other realities.
it keeps all the realities in
Yeah.
place, which all the realities are the Avengers doing the same things
Well, that's
all
why
over,
he's
like
hiding
a million
in
two
that little
times.
castle. I get
That's
that,
why he's
you
not
know?
at the end. But
Yeah.
once he get past the point where he has anything written, all the variants, all the potential changes in the path happen. There's a past where another king is the one that wins, and that's the TVA where Loki was sent back to, where nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
There's probably a past where Thanos wins. Again, there's now the What If series will make sense because it's basically going to look at here's all the variant stories that
Yep.
are now in the
In the
multiverse.
other realities. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that.
now the
That's
What
what
If is actually
But
built
that's
in.
what I've
So
been saying the whole time is like there's other variants, there's other versions
yeah,
of Kang out there. He's just trying to keep the peace so it won't go all haywire, And as
as
soon
long
as
as long as long as he was alive, there
yeah,
was peace.
yeah,
Now that
there's
he's
peace. Now that he's not, that
yeah,
particular reality that he was trying to guard so ferociously, everything's out of whack now. So now
yeah.
everything's all out of whack, and now you're going to start seeing this big multiversal war that's going to ensue, which is why we're going to start seeing more of these, TV series and these, like say the movies that are going to be coming out make more and more sense, which is going to be kind of like the buildup for the Infinity Saga. I think it's going to be the same thing here, and eventually we'll see the big bad Kang. Maybe we'll see different variants of Kang. Maybe the first variant we're going to see is going to be in this Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. The what do they call that?
Quantumania.
The Quantumania. Yeah, we'll see a
Yeah.
variant of him in that movie. It might not be the big bad that we're wanting, but it could be a variant of Kang.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And yeah, this is wild, right? And this is a great segue because what's coming up next Wednesday is the Marvel's What If animated series. I animated but not cartoony. It's sort of like a hybrid of
Kind of
live
like
action as well as animation.
it's like
Yeah,
anime. Yeah. So
it's a really solid, really high quality anime production. And so next Wednesday is the start of the What If series, and that leads us into our next topic, which is all about the What If series, and specifically around the importance, the value, the impact of this show. Because it's animation, you might have thought like this is probably in its own bubble. This won't have any ramifications to the greater MCU cinematic universe, and that's it. Like what happens in this show stays in this show. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we're gonna enjoy it. But there won't be any ripple effect or any other impact to the rest of the MCU. Well, Marvel producer Brad Windenbaum stated recently that he's in about the What If series as a project, as a story that exists in the MCU. It is as important as any other and is woven into that tapestry. That sounds a lot more than just it's in its own bubble and we might not see any ramifications from this show. JC, are you reading between the lines? Is there more to what he's saying?
there's more to what it's saying, and this was another example of them being smart about hiding what the series was all about. When it was initially announced, all they said is, it's no issue with the MCU. We're just looking at some alternate stories, some quote what if scenarios, and there was a what if comic series that's pretty prevalent with Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Actually, when I'm cleaning out my office, I found a few that I didn't realize I had. But now they really kept it a secret. I think the plan all along was we might incorporate some of the stuff, but if we tell you how, we're going to spoil Loki. And now that we've seen season 1 of Loki, it kind of opens the door to the what if things being involved. For all we know, we could see some zombie Captain America show up in Multiverse of Madness at this point, or Captain Britain. who knows? So this is gonna get pretty crazy, and people are gonna be wondering. I mean, they've been teasing. Why don't they bring Killmonger back as a Black Panther? Maybe he takes over for T'Challa somehow. Well, we've seen a what if in part of the trailer where he is Black Panther. He is king. So who knows? Yeah.
And really quick, shout out to those who may not have known this because I just found out today. Chadwick Boseman actually voice recorded a lot of his material for the What If series. So
Nice.
this could be the very last performance that we may ever see from Chadwick Boseman playing T'Challa. And of course, everybody praised his work for the show. Just thought he was incredible during the production of it all. So it's exciting, and it's also going to be very emotional, kind of watching what could be his last performance as T'Challa, Black Panther, during the What If show. Joe, what about you, man? I know you love to get into these geek theories and all that. Do you think the What If series is going to directly tie to the end of Loki? Will it also flow into any other live action movies that we'll see in the future?
I don't know if it'll tie directly into Loki. I think it's going to be something that's the fans are gonna like as far as knowing what if as far as like variants. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be something that's gonna be almost like a companion piece to Loki, because you've seen other the introduction of other variants. You've seen the TVA, and they said, "Hey, everybody working the TVA is a variant." You're gonna see these variant timelines, and I think that's gonna be instrumental to maybe trying to connect how these movies are gonna take place, and you know showing you that there are other realities beyond what the fans are used to. Because we have a lot of fans who became MCU fans or Marvel fans because of the introduction of the movies. They don't necessarily know a lot of the backstories of these characters, or hey, what happens if Killmonger does help Tony Stark in this situation. These things are going to be interesting for the casual fan that might not be a diehard that read all these comic books growing up, like maybe me, you, and JC did, because we didn't have a lot of internet back then. We had to keep ourselves occupied doing something. So I read a lot of comic books. But I think it's a great introduction to the fan to at least start bringing to light these are different realities. These are different scenarios that can happen when you do have variants, and things change the timeline to a certain degree. And
yeah,
it's some of the villains that they're used to might actually be the good guys in some of these what if series, and some of the good guys like Captain America could actually be a supervillain. So it's a good twist, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with it. I do like the art style. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Spider-Man animated cartoon that came out not too long ago, Into the Spider-Verse. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be entertaining now that everybody's seen Loki and got kind of set up for this kind of introduction, like I said, to the multiverse. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm here for it. I think we're all going to like it. I want to see what Jericho thinks of it.
Yeah.
there you go. Speaking of Jericho, make sure you text him and ask him where he's at. Jericho, how are you, man?
He's probably busy.
Should note it's 9 episodes and
Yeah.
they've already announced that a season two is in development. So
Yes, a little bit more. Yeah, a little bit more details and information regarding the What If series. The first season will consist of 9 episodes, as JC just mentioned. It was originally going to be 10, but due to some shutdowns and COVID delays, they had to take one of those episodes and shove it into season two. So season one is going to be 9 episodes now, and season two has already been confirmed to consist of 10 episodes. So kind of a good long season for both. I'm not sure how long these episodes are going to be, or if it's been mentioned or not, but probably 25 to 35-minute episodes, I would say, and it's not too shabby, right? So yeah, that's exciting. One thing that's sort of taking away from the What If hype is the headline that Marvel Studios didn't ask Dave Bautista, WWE superstar Dave Bautista, to reprise his role as Drax the Destroyer. somebody asked him on Twitter and said, "Hey, are you voicing Drax?" And he actually responded, "They didn't ask me to." And one of the first responses after that happened to be James Gunn, writer and director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and he just tweeted emphatically, "What?" And to his surprise and all of our surprises, they didn't ask Dave. And the only reason why that's unusual is because we've seen some animation stills where Drax is in the series, and Marvel's kind of been pushing this big headline that, oh, we asked over 50 MCU cast members to come back and do these voiceovers for this series. You couldn't
Yeah.
ask Dave? Like, is Dave Bautista not in your top 50 of Marvel MCU characters? Where does he fall in that line? How is he below number 52 or 53? I think is what how many people they asked to come back.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a good reason, but according to Dave, they never even reached out, which sounds a little odd. Why leave this one guy out? Maybe there's not enough of a role for him or something. JC, your thoughts?
The full list of characters that are going to sound different than their MCU counterparts are Iron Man, Steve Rogers, Captain America, uh, Captain Marvel, Peter Parker, Ultron, Black Widow, Gamora, Drax, Wanda, Scarlet Witch, Shuri, Pepper Potts, and Dora Milaje, who I think was one of
Dora Milaje.
the
That's the whole group.
the whole group, yeah, some of the door, yeah. So they're going to appear but voiced by different actors or actors that played them in the MCU film. So I don't know. Who knows? Because they brought Don Cheadle in, Paul Bettany,
Frank Grillo. Really?
yeah,
Dave Bautista's not above Frank Grillo? No offense, Frank.
Jordan, Natalie Portman, Mark Ruffalo, Paul Rudd. I mean, Kurt Russell, for crying out loud, is going to be in this. So I don't know. I'm not sure what happened there. I feel for Batista. I think he's very underrated as an actor. I'm very interested to see the second season of C. That saw the trailer. He's going to be a part of that with Jason Momoa on Apple TV Plus. So
That'd be interesting.
yeah, that's going to be a fun dynamic. But I don't know. That just seems odd to me. Like you're owned by Disney. Like they print money in Orlando, for crying out loud, at this point. So why you're not asking everyone you can to potentially be a part of this is beyond me.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Joe, your thoughts, man? Are you willing to?
Howard the Duck, for crying out loud.
Oh my God.
Joe, your thoughts, man?
Well, maybe one of the reasons why they're not bringing Batista back is maybe he's kind of said some things that has kind of ticked off some of the executives over there that are in charge of things that go behind the scenes at Marvel.
Could be. Could be.
Maybe they just
You know?
maybe they just didn't appreciate his comments, and him kind of being vocal. Are you going to reprise your role as Drax? Nah, probably not. This is going to be the last run for me. That kind of thing. And when you start talking and you start going to social media and you start, just being yourself and you say certain things, you have a right to say whatever it is that you want. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to like what you say. And sometimes these executives are going to take some of whatever he's saying to heart, and it kind of rubs him the wrong way. So unfortunately for him, he's going to miss out on some opportunities. But at the end of the day, I mean, you got to be you, and you can't just, you can't make everyone happy. No matter what you say, there's going to be a faction of people that don't agree with you. It's the way that social media is. So you know what? Just live life, be yourself, and if people don't like you, they don't like you. And if you miss out on another opportunity, I'm sure another one will present itself to the great Dave Bautista. And even if it's not in, acting per se, maybe that's something that he doesn't want to pursue any longer. Maybe there'll be another opportunity that'll present itself to him. Maybe he'll get into, video production or something, so that'd be something. Maybe he's in charge of some series or, something like that for Netflix or Hulu or Amazon.
You're telling me that Vince McMahon, who Batista wasn't exactly always nice about some of the stuff Vince booked or did, but Vince McMahon, the guy with the biggest ego we know, still would book Batista for things. But these guys who make a full ton of money have a problem with him like defending James Gunn and who knows what else. I don't know. That just doesn't make
It's executives are finicky, man. I've worked with some high level people in the job that I do, and I can tell you one thing: when you're working with CEOs and VPs, they're very particular people. Usually, I prefer to work with them only because they're a lot nicer than just the regular workers. But even
Yeah.
them, some of these guys, they just have these egos, that get so overinflated because they can't see past themselves. So they think because they're in charge of all this and they have all this power bestowed upon them that you have to treat them and talk to them a certain way. And if you don't do that, they get upset. It happens, man. Vince McMahon, he's a different breed. He likes to get in there and put hands on people and stuff. He's a different level of executive. He likes to get hit. He likes to be in the ring. He's a showman, so he gets where these guys are coming from. And at the end of the day, Vic is a very savvy businessman. He knows that if you're not getting along with the star, a WWE superstar, for now it doesn't mean it's a closed door. Look at they've been able to reconcile with some WWE alumni that have come back and made appearances at some of these key pay-per-view events and even the Hall of Fame. So he's a smart businessman. I think these MCU guys are just a little egotistical, man.
What's funny about Dave is that he's been very vocal about working, working, working. He actually wants to do things that are big ideas, very interesting. In the last few months, we've learned that he's wanted to do a solo Bane film, sort of in the vein of the Joker film. He actually pitched to Disney to do a solo Drax film because he felt that the character hasn't been utilized to his full potential. There's this whole backstory that they can dive into. So he wanted to do a project featuring him as Drax doing the solo film and really exploring the character. And then not too long ago, he was pitching to do a Gears of War movie, which everybody would love if he played Phoenix and did that, and that would just be an insane project. So I
and maybe
think
that's why
Drax is one of those guys that just wants to work, work, work. He's a workhorse, man, and I think if you give him the opportunity, he's going to kill it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Maybe Disney doesn't want to give him the opportunity for the vision that he has for the character. At the end
Could
of the
be.
day, you're either going to go ahead and move forward with the vision that you have, that you feel, hey, I'm this character. He has a great following. I want to do things this way. And then when you present your idea to the powers that be, they're like, we want to do this instead. And unfortunately, that doesn't include you in the future. That's kind of hard pill to swallow. So, you know, sorry, dude. It is what it is. It's business.
There you go. There you
sounds
go.
like Bray Wyatt at this point. But yeah, it's a discussion for tomorrow.
All right, listen. Real quick, to kind of switch topics a little bit. We were thinking that this was going to be our first big opportunity to talk about Celebrity Fan Fest, but but unfortunately,
Oh, yeah.
we live
Woo!
in some very unusual times right now. So, sort of at the midnight hour, Celebrity Fan Fest was forced to cancel the event,
Man, talk about
primarily because
being stood up at the prom, bro. That's what this was.
it felt like
At
it a
least
little
they
bit.
gave
Yeah,
notice, right?
they
So
they did, and they're very professional, and they're setting the standard for the industry of conventions across the country, right? And I'll get into that in a second. But just thank you to PMX events, to Bob, to Clarissa, everybody who's been working with us and kind of communicating and stuff like that. We were really looking forward to it. We were planning on doing several different things and building and grabbing so much content. But as I just mentioned, we live in some very strange and unusual times. And the fact that in certain parts of the country, the pandemic is getting a little bit worse, with this Delta variant especially, a lot of the major guests were forced to cancel their appearances. And it was enough to the point that the organizers decided to pull the plug on the entire thing. And when I say they are setting the standard for conventions across the country, I mean that they're actually refunding 100% all of the ticket sales, all of the photo op sales, all of the autograph sales to everybody who purchased them, and they're doing it fast. Within the next about a week and a half, we should actually have all those refunds completed according to
By August 30th, he said.
According to there was actually a post earlier
Yeah, they
today.
said by August 30th they should have it all out. However, if you can still use your ticket, you're still gonna get the refund. But
Yes.
this week only, you can still go and visit Six Flags Fits Texas. Use it as a park admission. It's free admission, although you might pay up the ass for parking, but that's another story. You can still use that ticket this week to go and just be a park goer. Go, enjoy the day. Bring water, a lot of it if you can, and just ride some of the rides. I like, Golden Lasso, Wonder Woman, Goliath. Take a day in the water park. Kind of make a day of it. I know, school's about to pick up for kids pretty soon, so it might be a good time to just take the family out for a day and just before they got to get back into it. So, and they'll still,
Absolutely.
still basically get the money back. In essence, you're going to be going to Visit Texas for free admission wise. Food and souvenirs, that's another story. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so they are tremendous and guests, and they are very professional. And man, we were looking forward to it so much. So many great appearances and so much in store. But it's just sometimes this happens, and so we are looking forward to their next event, whenever it may be. Hopefully, all this craziness is over by that time because I wouldn't want this to happen to them again. They're great individuals. They're fantastic, and the fact that they're refunding everything 100%, no questions asked, nothing like that, and they're doing it as fast as possible is just tremendous. So thank you to them for everything they do, and we're definitely looking forward to the next event.
Yeah, I just think it
So
might have been a good call on their part, especially with, what I mean saying by that is, as far as the celebrities, going ahead and saying, we're going to pull out because we just don't feel comfortable at this point. At the end of the day, you want everybody to stay safe and healthy, and
yeah,
things happen for a reason. So there is that Lambert and that Delta variant. So, until the next, we look forward to getting together again, and maybe at the next time that we are able to get together and actually start bringing this great content to the fans, we'll all have fun and we'll be safe at the same time. So, looking forward to next time.
absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna switch gears again a little bit, and we're gonna talk about a trailer that dropped today. No, not the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that we've been waiting for forever. Especially since this week was Spider-Man week, and especially since yesterday was Spider-Man Day. But no, no trailer still. And to make matters a little bit worse, we did get a Venom 2 trailer, and there was one big thing missing from it: the release date. What did previously have a September release date, the most recent trailer that dropped today actually had no release date and just stated releasing this fall, which is leading many fans to believe that there is a delay coming for this movie, which is distributed by Sony.
Mhm.
And there's also other movies that are coming out soon that are distributed by Sony. One in particular is Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters
Afterlife.
Afterlife. I'm sorry.
So, well, I'm not trying to jinx it, knock on wood, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Venom 2, the trailer that just came out today. The second trailer, Let There Be Carnage, which features a lot more of Woody Harrelson's character, a little bit of his origin story.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you first, Joe. Be nice. What did you think of the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer that dropped today, man? Anything that caught your eye? The overall
No,
tone? Any
just
excitement?
no
Anything at all,
excitement.
Joe?
No
Come
excitement
on,
out of me.
give
This
it to us, Joe.
this
What
looks
do you
like a
think, Joe?
stinker. Looks like a stinker to me. The CGI was questionable. Everybody looks all plasticky. Doesn't
No.
look good to me. It looks like cheap CGI. Think they should have went back and spent more money on that. No, but instead they're going to go ahead and make Venom a comedian, which is already the bad direction for me. So, seeing the first movie and how bad that was, the second one is probably going to be more of the same. I will not watch this unless I get invited to go see it for free or I watch it somewhere else.
Now
Um,
you're forcing me to take you on a date, Joe. Come on, man.
no, I just ain't having it, man. This looks like a stinker. It looks like what it's doing is it's going to go ahead and set you up by introducing some of the best parts of the movie. Some of these parts might not even be in the movie themselves, they're just going to tease you. Then you go see the movie, and then what happens? You're going to be let down. If the first one was this bad, I expected the second one to really set the tone, give me something from the get go from this trailer to really get excited about. Instead, came away disappointed.
Well, JC, you got to follow that, man. Go for it.
Well, for one, since Justice is not going, I think we're going to have a great time when we go see this movie without him. I have haters in the crowd. So I
You
can't
better
wait
be
for that.
drunk. You better be plastered. You're going to go see this one.
Look, I enjoyed the first one. I thought it
Maybe
was a
sipping on
different
some
take.
ciders.
I thought it was unique, and that's why I really appreciate the first one. And it had a mix of the violent and the comedic element, which is what I'm getting from the second one, and I personally enjoyed that. But God, they put Woody Harrelson in a psychotic villain role, and I'm sold. The guy can do it all, and he's the one that sold me on this trailer. This trailer really was showcasing Carnage, not so much Venom. Obviously, there's going to be elements of Eddie Brock and Venom just talking back and forth. We got a lot of that in the first one, and it makes sense. It's a bit schizo.
Yeah.
It's what Brock has to deal with while he carries a symbiote. So, um, but I'm thinking Carnage looks really good. It's going to be crazy seeing Venom facing his equal, basically, and how that fight's going to go. Now, if you don't want to see it for whatever reason, the post-credit scene of Venom 1 was our first look at Into the Spider-Verse. I'm pretty sure we might see a post-credit scene for Let There Be Carnage that's Into the Spider-Verse 2.
Okay.
You know
So
what? I'd have more fun watching a roach crawl on a damn wall.
that could be fun. That could be fun.
The roach is going to have better CGI than what was over there in the movie.
I agree with the CGI. Okay, the CGI is the CGI. If you have an issue with the CGI, go make it yourself. And
I probably could. I got the equipment.
Then do it. I mean, the only time that it's been a horrible CGI, and thankfully they did something about it, was Sonic the Hedgehog, and they spent the money and did it because they listened.
There you go.
I don't think the CGI is bad. I mean, it looks like Venom but red,
And it's a symbiote. Like, it's supposed to kind of have that plasticky texture to it, Joe.
yeah, it's supposed to look like
The
that.
what? The symbiote's wet all the time.
Yeah, it's like not a liquid, not a solid. It's kind of in between.
I get that, man, but it just looks too plasticky. I'm just being honest.
The symbiote is basically the very first diaper change of a newborn. We all remember it. It's that black shit. Ugh, it's nasty. After that, parenting gets a little bit easier, but I always say it looks like a damn symbiote.
Yeah, it didn't have to have the sheen to it. That's all I'm saying. It's just too plasticky, man.
There's an ocean creature. I'm not gonna get this right, so if anybody's watching right now that knows exactly what it is, let me know. There's an ocean creature known as a lungworm. I think it's
Lungworm,
maybe.
like a lung, like your lungworm.
Yes. Okay, I think that might be it. And I was watching this video of lungworm eating or attacking a crab on some jetties or some rocky ground or stuff like that. And that's as pretty close to a symbiote as you can get. No arms, no legs. It's just like a flan, a black flan that's just like trying to eat and attack this crab.
Yeah.
So that had the same kind of shine and same kind
You
of
know what the
texture to
deal
it.
killer was in this
Yeah.
trailer? The introduction of a new character that miraculously has sound coming out of her mouth or air or whatever. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? No.
There's a whole lore.
Yeah, that's Shriek.
I'm just
There's
like,
a whole
but of course they're gonna have that. Of course they're gonna have that, right?
Marvel has Shriek.
Of course they're gonna have that though, because you know that's the symbiote's weakness is sound. So I'm just like, whatever, man.
Oh well, that's also Carnage's girlfriend. That's like
it's. I'm just saying, it's just too easy, bro. It's just
part
too
of the
easy.
lore. It's part
of the lore. That's
I get
Carnage's
that. I get
girlfriend.
that, man. But
what is this Catwoman doing in this Batman
I'm
movie?
just saying,
What?
I get that, man. It's just too easy. You can already tell by the trailer, kind of, okay, this is gonna be where the plot's gonna go, and I'm just like, no, man. I'm more excited about watching Suicide Squad on Friday. That's my movie. That's my movie.
I mean, I can't argue with you there, but we'll talk later about it, Joe. I watched the trailer, and it's a lot of the same banter between Tom Hardy's character as well as Venom, and I found it to be incredibly entertaining the first time around. So if we're getting more of that, I don't think I'm gonna mind it. If it's something that gets old really quick, I'll have an issue with it. But I have to watch it to figure that part out.
Yeah.
As far as Woody playing Cletus Cassidy, I like it, especially since he gets rid of that wig like halfway through the trailer. So I think I'm gonna be really excited to see his character in this portrayal of Carnage.
So if anybody
I
bites,
like
But
the
if
embrace
anybody
it.
bites Brock,
origin.
they're gonna turn into a symbiote.
He didn't just bite him; he drank the dude's blood. This dude is
Yeah.
sadistic. Like he said, I tasted the blood, and that's never tasted like any other blood I've tasted before. So I think this is
Oh
probably the
man.
origin of how he gets into his system. And I think it was a hilarious moment where Venom's like, "Oh no,
You know
it's a
what?
red one."
No,
Red one.
man.
It's
I'd rather watch the bootleg version, dude, from Redbox or something. It's gonna be Carnage or something weird. You know how they always,
that's the porn
spoof the titles. I'd rather watch that.
parody.
Ooh, Roms is on a chat. What's up, Roms?
I just
He
saw it.
said, "Have we watched Suicide Squad? He watched it already. It's way better than he expected." Have not. We have plans to watch it, kind of in our group setting, this Friday, opening night, and we're all excited. I think most of us will be there. I know Jason, you're busy.
I'll be there. I
Um,
told you I was going to be there.
Jason's gonna be there, so are we all gonna be there? Jericho's gonna be there too.
Mike's going to be there with me. Yeah, Mike and I are going. So
Sweet, awesome. Okay, so Roms, we're all planning on seeing it together, and then we're gonna have a discussion about it the Monday afterwards. And I've been talking about the Suicide Squad for years. As soon as James was signed on, I told people like James can figure anything out. He can make you care about the least interesting character in about any movie. He has the ability to write a great script, great dialogue, and just pull so much out of characters. So can't wait. He also says, hopefully we see Toxin in Venom. Let there be Carnage. Hey, that would be dope. Unless you're Joe. Joe doesn't want to see any more characters. No new characters in the sequel, right, Joe?
Not that, dude. This movie's just stinker,
You
dude.
just said.
It's just a
All right.
stinker. I mean, it's just too easy, dude. I'm like,
I'm,
come on, man.
I'm teasing you, Joe. I'm sorry, man.
I'm just
All
like,
right.
come on, man. It's this movie. No,
What the last thing I'll say is the thing that trips me out about the first movie and now the second one is I'm only hearing Audrey 2 now every time Venom speaks. For those of you who don't know who Audrey 2 is, look up a little film called Little Shop of Horrors featuring the legendary Rick Moranis, where he grows this alien plant that
Hey, bitch.
eventually
Yeah.
eats people, has a taste for human flesh, and it just gets out of control. But Audrey too has this very similar tone, attitude, charisma, uh, all of that stuff. Just it's Audrey too as a symbiote, and that's why I think I get a kick out of this the most because I love Little Shop of Horrors.
Audrey too had a lot more soul though. That's
I mean, if we see some singing of Venom in the second
highly
one, then they'll be right there, buddy. I what did it in the first trailer when he was like making breakfast? Wasn't he singing a little bit that time too?
I
I
think
felt like
Hardy
he
was
was.
singing. I think Venom was. I don't remember.
No, it wasn't Hardy. Hardy was just like moping around while he was getting
That's
slapped in the face
possible.
with some
I don't. I
bangers.
have to go back and watch it again.
We'll watch it again. All right.
And Joe, here's some good
Um,
news for you. Tom Hardy has also signed on for a third film. By the way, he's already announced that.
yay,
oh
Joe!
God, they're gonna make another one.
Hell yeah!
Yay, Joe!
That's
Yeah.
probably. I don't know. Maybe they might not after they see that the box office isn't right where they want it to be after this stinker. You know.
So here's what I'll say too of this, and obviously with the Sony and Marvel Studios working together with Spider-Man, and with what happened with Loki, everyone says all Sony has said is that this exists parallel to the MCU. Who's to say that this doesn't become part of the MCU at least on some level?
I would
You
like
know,
to see Sony actually start their own streaming service and have a Spider-Man series come out. I'd watch that.
That'll be interesting.
I think Sony's years down the road from that. they're not the big media conglomerate that like everyone else is right now.
Oh, they
They have a
can
lot.
partner with somebody. They could partner with Amazon.
Well, they have a
I don't know. I doubt that.
they have a PS.
Amazon's gonna want to put PS5 games on their
I was
service.
just about to say they have a PS5, so just make it the PlayStation Video app, like the PS Video.
Sony's internet can't handle it, and they have a hard enough time sometimes with games online. Trust me, they don't have the back end to handle all that kind of content sort of
They
thing.
don't have the
I
server
agree.
infrastructure.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
So, but I could see them partnering a bit with Marvel Studios as this multiverse gets going, and they start visiting other multiverses. Maybe that bleeds into the Spider-Verse on some level. I could see
There
it
you
happen.
go.
You know, they never said they wouldn't do it. They just said it runs side by side with it. And as things progress, we could see that happen.
Yeah, I was looking forward to Morbius, so hopefully we get to see that soon.
You're talking about Owen Wilson?
No. The series.
Oh, Mobius.
Mobius.
I
Yeah.
heard Mobius.
Not Morbius. Mobius. Yeah.
My bad.
With Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully that doesn't get delayed anymore.
Yeah. I was actually interested in that because it's a kind of a character that nobody really knows about unless you kind of read the comic books and you're familiar with the Spider-Man lore. So I was looking forward to seeing that. You know, maybe that would actually tie in with the Spider-Man universe that Sony set up, and maybe we'll see Mobius versus a Spider-Man or something. That would be dope. You know.
That's what we're all expecting, man. We're expecting all this to happen eventually. It's taking too damn long. Roms is also in here saying he was hoping we were going to get the No Way Home trailer for Spider-Man Day instead of Venom. And before you jumped on, I said the exact same thing. It's been Spider-Man week all week. They've been pushing all the old movies on us. They had Spider-Man Day, and like the only thing we got was a behind the scenes set photo of Spidey, Tom Holland meeting Doctor Strange at his residence, is what people were saying. And this was a leak, not by Marvel Studios by any means. And so that was the only thing, and it was a little unexpected, but I think everybody thought Strange was going to be in the movie kind of to some extent anyways. So yeah, that's the only thing we got. Spider-Man Day, no new trailer. And it's getting a little bit worrisome now. I think there's a little bit cause for concern that it's taken so long for a movie that's supposed to be released in a little over 4 months now. And we haven't even gotten a teaser. Not even a teaser. Not even a poster. I don't think we've got a poster. The only thing we've gotten is a title reveal, right? And that doesn't really fall into the category of teaser or anything like that. So just a logo or title reveal, and that's all we've gotten. Very strange. I don't know what they're waiting for at this point. Very, very odd. My only thought is that there are probably delays that might occur. I think everybody's just kind of watching how the box office business is going right now, and if it's not still on the incline and it's starting to decline a little bit, they may decide to hold off and move it probably a few months. But it's Spider-Man, so at the very earliest, March. And I wouldn't even assume that early. I would probably say April or later. You want it in the summer. Whew. Roms also says, I never knew that I knew he was having trouble with WWE, but I didn't know he was going through a struggle like that. Oh, did you know?
Bray Wyatt, I
said,
Batista. There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, he was broke before Marvel casted him as Drax. I did read that story. Very bizarre. JC, have you ever heard anything remotely close to that?
Yeah, I mean, he got out of wrestling, wanted to get into acting, and that was a struggle. But he kept at it. You know, he even did the MMA thing for a bit. You know, not too shabby. It wasn't anything spectacular, but acting was his passion, and he was going to do whatever he could to get into it. And then had a few roles here and there, and then the Drax role came along, and that pretty much saved him. So,
but a guy like Batista, like how is there not any residual from being one of the biggest superstars at WWE at the time?
That's one of the things about WWE. They don't employ full-time employees. They employ independent contractors. These guys have to pay their own health insurance. They have to pay their own hotel, flights, rental cars, everything on the road.
Damn it,
But they
Vince.
don't get health benefits. They don't get a retirement. Um, that's how Vince has gotten around the labor system for decades now.
Yeah.
Until wrestlers unionize or able to unionize, and people like Hulk Hogan and John Cena stop trying to block that from happening because they're sitting pretty, it's going to be that trend. And I think that's why AEW is such a welcome trend for this industry, because they employ them full time. So they do get health benefits. They're taken care of. They're not on the road so much that they're putting their bodies on the line, much like it was when Batista was there. And Batista got started in the business when he was pretty up in age. Like, that's why he didn't last too long. And for all we know, I don't know the details of his contract, but it may not be as lucrative as some of the other top stars that were there at the time. But it was a struggle for him, and don't want to take bumps anymore. And the movies is where the money's at. I mean, look at The Rock, and I know Cena's there now for SummerSlam, but he's going to be gone right after. He's going to get roles left and right. I mean,
yeah, he's making money. He doesn't need to come wrestle anymore. He just shows up just to, appease the fans.
Yeah, and Vince is all of a sudden having to make budget cuts. Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, now Malachi Black. All these guys are getting released, and they're going other places. Daniel Bryan didn't get his contract renewed. He's supposedly signed with AEW. Adam Cole's contract expires after SummerSlam. He could go back to Ring of Honor, go to AEW. There's all these other smaller companies are starting to work together too. So
yeah,
it's a great alternative to wrestling.
Yeah.
And Impact, AEW, it's all fun to watch, and it all ties it together right now. You want to talk about a multiverse? That's what we got in wrestling right now with any company not named WWE.
Yeah, I think the biggest gripe that fans have with the WWE is that it's not original anymore. It's kind of, they've done the same bit over and over and over again. They need to inject something new into it.
Raw is borderline unwatchable at this point. It's SmackDown. NXT is the best thing WWE has, and they barely acknowledge it. SmackDown of the two main shows is good because Fox makes them have the top stars, and that's why Raw is so bad. So we're going to talk a lot more about it on the WrestleCast because there's so much out there going on. Bray Wyatt's name was being chanted so much on Raw tonight, from what I'm hearing too. So
odd,
and I hope it goes on for months. But CM Punk being AEW, that's turned a lot of heads, and looking forward to that.
there you go. Yeah, more about wrestling on the WrestleCast, which is tomorrow. At what time?
Be on shortly after 9, probably around 9:15. Shortly after NXT, we'll get set up, and we'll go live on the Countdown City Geeks YouTube channel. And join us, chat with us, talk a lot of wrestling news. We're going to quickly recap Impact Homecoming, which is like a little special they had, and it was a pretty fun tournament that they had on Impact this past Saturday.
Yeah, Team USA is going to be playing Spain in a little bit here at 11:40. That's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big test for Team USA, so I don't want to miss that.
All right, we got time.
Oh yeah.
Ram says, "How's y'all's day been?" Well,
busy.
Got some rain.
I'm gonna start. It's been very busy, and I'm gonna talk about it here in a second, but I have to throw out a warning for anybody watching right now. Our next topic, it's going to be short, probably the next 5-10 minutes, and it's all about potential spoilers regarding the Flash film, and that's why I say it's been a very busy day. So listen, I'm throwing it out there right now. If you're watching the show, I'm putting the spoiler warning on both of our streams right now. If you do not want any potential spoilers, I am respecting your decision right now. This is a free geek country right here. If you don't want any potential spoilers for the Flash movie, you can stop right now and just pause this film or pause this stream, come back in like 10 minutes, and we're going to start talking about Masters of the Universe and just do a quick recap of season 1 or part 1 of season 1. So that's your warning. 3, 2,
So let me go ahead and flash
1.
this over.
Flash it.
Flash it.
I'm gonna flash it. I made something real quick here.
Flash.
I don't think we're that kind of a show. Keep your shirt on, Joe.
All right, you good, Joe?
I'm good now. I made something and I said, spoiler warning, you have been warned.
You
Flash
have
movie
been warned.
spoilers. It's flashing on the screen.
Potential
There you
spoiler
go,
here.
Ted. Just count it
All
down.
right, it's okay. 3, 2, 1.
Go.
Here we go. I'm glad JC is here, and I was hoping Jericho would be here. There's a very good reason why. How do we begin? It
Simple.
all started on this rainy afternoon where an individual on Twitter actually released a set photo of Ezra Miller in a brand new Flash costume. The one we've all been expecting because we've seen art renditions of an upgraded or more comic accurate Flash costume. Okay? So, even though it was Ezra Miller in a suit on the set of The Flash, and we've not seen this photo before, that wasn't even the biggest headline. He put in his caption, again, spoiler warning, stop now. This is not on me, it's on you from here on out. He put in his caption, working on the Flash film today, got to work on a scene featuring the Flash, Batman, and the
Superman.
Man of Steel.
Good.
And he said it's a lifelong dream of his, and he can't believe he's working on it. Blah 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 blah. That set social media on fire. And this individual, I won't call him now. You won't even find his post now because he had to take it down. He was getting so many damn mentions because of it, both positive and negative, of course. Um, I almost don't know where to go from here because it's always been talked about by Henry Cavill's agent, by kind of people around him, that the Superman door isn't closed all the way. His agent even said it specifically as the cape is always in his closet. But now we seemingly have a potential credible confirmation that we could have Henry Cavill as Superman once again. And that's freaking amazing. And I know I don't want to get my hopes up. It might be somebody who just got a photo from somebody who did work on the film and he wanted to create a headline. That's always possible, right? But the fact that it is a photo no one's seen before, that you can't doctor, you can't make it up, it gets giving it a little bit of credit. It's giving it a little bit of credibility in that regard. So, JC,
Mhm.
I'll ask you, is it I'm always weary too because just because we have our Superman and Batman in the Flash film, it doesn't always mean it's going to end well because we know what Flash does and how he's able to mess up things. That's the running gag about Barry. So, JC, if this is all true, how great would it be for Henry to be back in your opinion?
I want him back. I've said that many times. Nothing against seeing Michael B. Jordan as Val Zod, which was also announced. We'll be seeing that in the near future. But uh, Cavill is one of the best Kal-El Supermans we've ever had. Period. And I've always wanted him back with the black suit because that is canon, right? Um,
Right?
my only worry on this is because it's been rumored about this being the Flashpoint is that they're using this movie to erase and end the Snyderverse of the series of it, which would suck.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it would really suck.
That is one of the rumors, and that is gut wrenching if that's what's going to come to pass.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to see another DC movie after that, man, because I'm just like, oh, that would be the worst thing ever.
I'm telling you, Snyder, just make them animated films. I'm sure these guys could do the voice acting. Give us the whole plan. That's just like every film you wanted to make, and HBO Max would be stupid not to release those because you know damn well people would watch them and want to see them, and
Yeah.
you do so much more with the animated side of it. But yeah,
Joe, I know you're not as big of a Superman fan as JC is, but your thoughts, man, on the potential comeback of the Man of Steel?
It's always a exciting to have somebody like Cavill come back and reprise the role. I thought he was a really good, Superman. I liked the character. I like when he portrayed Superman on the big screen. So his return is something that I welcome. However, what are they going to wind up doing with this movie is anybody's guess. Hopefully, they don't erase Ted and JC's beloved Snyderverse. If they do, it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. But at the
I
same
need some
juncture,
tissues. Yeah.
um, this is probably going to make the most sense for DC moving forward if they hope to reboot the entire series again or the franchise again. So it's going to be interesting to see what direction they're going to wind up going with this movie. I think it's probably going to be one of the most important movies for the DCU that's going to be coming out because you really don't know, other than just hearing all these rumors, what's actually going to happen. They're bringing back some familiar faces in Michael Keaton that's going to reprise the role of Batman again. So I think they're
They're
going to do a lot
talking
of
about
yeah,
bringing J.K. Simmons back as Jim Gordon, which
yeah,
is huge.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's going to be. I think they're going to play a lot of fan service in this movie. There's going to be a lot of moments where fans are going to get excited, and to me, this is the film that you're going to want to go see in the theater with a lot of avid, rabid fans of the DC universe because they're going to have those ooh and ah moments. That the audience is going to really make the movie experience that much more enjoyable. So I, for
Yeah,
one, am looking forward to seeing what they're going to do, and I think the not knowing part is kind of got us all a little nervous.
very. And I would again, you gotta just in the back of your mind think about what's the worst case scenario, and the fact that there's a potential for history to be erased here is a very troubling thought, and I
Yeah.
hope it doesn't come to pass. But hey, look, Star Trek did it with J.J. Abrams did it with Star Trek, um, basically erased history or created branch timeline, however you want to think about it. But yeah, so let's get off of that topic now. That's the Flash movie. We got plenty of time to discuss. And right now, the biggest news sites are actually at odds with one another, saying like it's not true. It is true. It's not true. It is true. So they're going back and forth. I have no idea how this is gonna end up. Maybe we'll find out by DC fandom. Basically, what's gonna happen. That's in 2 months. Can't wait for that. Long live stream all day. All of us, you guys have been already been
No.
told.
Well, you
Make
can
make
come in. We can
preparations.
do a live, go live from the studio.
Make sure you have some cider on ice for JC.
Oh my goodness! I will whatever he wants. I'll put it in the ice chest, man.
Tell it I can bring it. It's fine. But we'll see.
All right, we're actually going to get to our very last topic of the day, which is all about Masters of the Universe. JC, you're free to stay, man, but I don't know if you want to hear this.
I will, before we do, let me add one thing to your Geekly Weekly headlines because this was announced since our last show, I believe.
Sure.
For the 20th anniversary of Smallville, the
Ooh.
entire series is coming to Blu-ray on October 19th. Pre-orders are available on Amazon.com. It's $180
Oh man.
for the entire series on Blu-ray. I actually would enjoy that because I don't have any of them on DVD. And I've kind of been waiting for this whole complete series set. They printed it on DVD. I would love it for Blu-ray. So if you guys are looking for a Christmas gift for me, would much appreciated it. But yeah, it's finally happening. 20 years. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years since the debut of Smallville. And so this whole set's going to be released on Blu-ray, which is pretty amazing. So, and yeah, that's my Geekly Weekly headline. Does anybody here plan to pick it up and check it out? Because it's going to have all the old extras too. So
I'm planning on getting the. I don't know if you could buy it yet. I think you have to win it. I plan on trying to obtain the Suicide Squad Loteria game. That's what I want. I
let,
don't know if you guys saw that,
I
but
let,
that
saw
was
it.
pretty awesome.
let me just say, I met a relative of Mike's that has an in on that, and she might be able to get me the adult version of that. No
Nice.
This is a
promises, but we'll see what happens.
all right, JC. You're my best friend, man. You know that. You need some cider, some gluten-free burgers, whatever you need, sir.
So he needs some gluten-free beer is what he needs.
And
I have some. I have some. Yes.
there
So
you go. I send JC photos every time I find one. I'm like,
I'm
hey, look at
always
this.
checking the ingredient list to make sure.
Yeah.
So,
It's hard to find a
Absolutely.
gluten-free beer that tastes good. If you find
Uh,
that mix,
I don't
man,
know about that.
Redbridge
there
is
you
one
go.
that's really good, and it's actually made by Anheuser-Busch, and it's the best gluten-free beer that I've had. I have like 2 or 3 bottles still in my fridge, and I'm
Nice.
always drinking one whenever I'm grilling, and that one's actually really good. Doesn't taste like it tastes like beer, and it's gluten-free. It's healthy, so except for the sugar, obviously, but yeah, it's so yeah.
That's what
That,
happens when you drink beer that has a lot of sugar. That's why people get the beer gut.
yeah, so that one is definitely my favorite, and highly recommend to those who are trying to drink beer and still be a little bit healthier with less gluten. So
There you go. I might check that out too, just to see what it tastes like.
yeah, so
Oh man, we have to have it in the studio for Joe Studio.
you can find it at HEB too, which is a great thing. So
Oh my
Nice.
gosh, yes,
yes,
cool. Then we're gonna talk Masters of the Universe. JC, you're welcome to stay or bounce, whatever you want to do, man.
I think I'm gonna bounce on it because I don't want you guys to spoil it for me, and I
Done.
do plan to watch it this week and everything like that. But next week, though, I do plan and look forward to talking about Superman and Lois because the final 2 episodes of the season start next week with the Olympics being over, and there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
So
And
A
the
lot.
Suicide Squad.
I
Yeah,
don't know if you've seen the series yet, Ted, but it's really good.
all caught up. We're all caught up.
have you
All
watched
every
the
single one of
extended
us.
cuts?
Huh?
Yes.
Watch the extended cuts on the CW app.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I actually do.
Okay, good.
AJ and me binge watched the CW versions just one day, and yeah, all caught up.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I won't ruin anything for you for He-Man, but it's really good, JC. Just make sure that you have some tissues with you, bro.
Ooh.
By the way, the funny joke about this is that people are saying that Barbie is like it's bad image for women, that the girls is not anatomically correct, and I'm thinking He-Man looked like that. No guy in the history of the world looked, well, maybe Brian Cage, no guys that look like He-Man.
I think
But,
He-Man in the animated series was like 7 foot, something, long legs, long
oh, he's
arms.
tall. And Dolph Lundgren was pretty tall. He definitely
Yeah.
was. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. Thanks for having me. Check out the WrestleCast tomorrow. And Joe, yes, F Boy Island. We're going to be talking about that. If you are, if you have HBO Max, go watch F Boy Island. Oh my God, it is amazing. It
I'm
is
gonna
so
have the wife watch that with me over the weekend.
yeah. Ted, trust me, you and Mel would love F Boy Island on HBO Max.
You know
Yeah.
what? Before you go, I've actually started watching Yellowstone featuring Kevin Costner, and
Oh,
I'm
nice.
hooked. I
Nice.
am hooked. It's like The Sopranos, but cowboys in Montana. Like
Yeah.
legit the same thing. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
We'll watch F Boy Island over the weekend, JC, and then we'll converse. And I'll let you know what the wife and me thought about it.
Well, the next 3 episodes come out this Thursday. It's 3 episodes a week, and Nikki Glazer's the host, and she's so good. She's
Okay,
great.
I'll watch for Nikki then.
She's really good. She's so funny. So,
Cool.
She absolutely is.
guys. Yep.
Have a good night, man.
Good
Later.
night, JC.
Take care, everybody.
All right, and then there were two, unless Jericho decides to magically show up. I know he's busy though.
He's busy with the
Um,
baby.
Absolutely. We are going to talk about Masters of the Universe, which is on Netflix. The first part of the first season has been released, 5 episodes. We're going to talk about all five right now. And Joe, I could do a quick summary, or do you want to skip that and just give us your thoughts in general about the whole thing?
I mean, you can do a quick summary just to let people know what the general consensus is. I mean, if you've seen He-Man, Masters of the Universe, it's basically the same thing. It's just a different twist.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's do this. Kind of a quick summary. Let's do it. In 3, 2, 1. Prince Adam, summoned one day when Skeletor captures the sorceress and attacks Castle Grayskull. During the battle, Skeletor reveals the magic orb, which contains the secrets of Grayskull. The blast of magical energy, because he cracks the orb, could only be contained using the Sword of Power, and seemingly destroying He-Man and Skeletor in the process. After his death, a pact is made between Evil Lyn and the sorceress to save Eternia. Without the magic, Eternia doesn't exist. Tila and Andra must travel to the Hall of Heroes in Preternia, as well as Subternia, the land of the dead, to forge the Sword of Power, which is broken into two. But first, they must seek the help of others. They first travel to Subternia, where Tila must face her fears to defeat the shadow of what was once Skeletor. But before they can leave the land of the dead, Orko sacrifices himself in an epic confrontation with the shadow of what was once Skeletor. In Paternia, Prince Adam provides the second half of the Sword of Power and says the legendary hero can forge the sword for them. However, the forge is instead forged by Roboto. The crew heads back to Eternia with Prince Adam, who sacrifices eternal life in Paternia, but while he's calling on the power of Grayskull, is stabbed in the back by Skeletor, who's been hiding in the staff of Evelyn and has now taken all the power for himself. Joe, I'm going to start out by saying this is a very quick watch, right? It almost feels like it should just be kind of one long movie because the episodes are really short, and which is not a bad thing per se. But I kind of want a little bit of the cinematic, thematic kind of feel. So if it was just one long hour or and a half so movie, I would have loved it. Hour and a half movie with the to be continued because the way this ends, you can't imagine this is going to be the actual end of the story. It's called part one, for a reason, by the way.
Yeah.
But I love the animation style. I am mostly impressed with the voice acting. They got so many fantastic individuals. Everybody from Liam Cunningham, who voices Man at Arms, to the voice actors for Evil Lynn, who a lot of these folks are Game of Thrones actors and actresses, by the way. Um, Lena Headey, who voices Evil Lynn, and yeah, so impressed, especially with Skeletor, who's voiced by the one and only legendary Mark Hamill. Oh my god, just when you thought he couldn't be any better as a voice actor for Joker, he completely kills it as Skeletor. It's so damn good, right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. What I winded up doing too is after I saw the series, I stayed for like some behind the scenes stuff that Kevin
Yeah.
Smith talks about. They had Mark Hamill on there. They kind of interviewed him and whatnot. So I stayed for that, and it was kind of interesting just to hear the dialogue and them talking about the actual series itself. Um, I think it was a new twist on the actual Masters of the Universe compared to the original series that came out in 1983.
Yes.
It had the thing with this one going in is you're expecting more of the same, but it takes you by surprise right off the bat.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's a good thing though because you never you always see He-Man and Skeletor going at it, but nothing ever really happens. Yes, he gets defeated time and time again, but there's really no real consequences to either character. They live to fight another day, and Skeletor is there mostly for comedic relief, and everybody likes the funny memes that are out there on circulating around the internet with, Skeletor and the gifs that have him running around and whatnot, So it is what it is in that regard, but this is not the same He-Man, as you saw from the you know, if you haven't watched the series, you need to watch it. Each episode's about 20 minutes long, 23 minutes long. So it's something that you can watch fairly quickly, like you said, Ted. But full disclosure here, after at the end of that first episode, He-Man
Yeah.
and Skeletor both perish as Skeletor goes and opens the little pyramid that they have there in Castle Grayskull, which he finally gets to go inside, and he uses his staff to go ahead and smash the orb or crack the orb, and all the magical energy um, is just dispersed and it's contained within the sword of power. And at that
Right.
point, He-Man kind of separates the sword into two halves so he can contain the energy, and it's seemingly him and Skeletor, as you stated, perish. But it's just a different take as far as them going in a different
Absolutely.
direction where the main character and the main villain aren't necessarily there anymore. It's showing the aftermath of what happens when they're taken out. There's no more magic left on this particular planet and how it affects everything and how it affects the people that live in it. Life is hard for everyone after this. There's a lot of breakdown as far as the family dynamic goes, where everything was copacetic and great before. After He-Man and Skeletor both perish, everything is in disarray at this point. It's hard on the people, hard on the kingdom, hard on the villains. It's hard for everybody. Everybody
Almost
has a
all
tour.
magic is gone
All magic is gone, and
in
even the
Eternia.
magical creatures are being affected by it because there's no magic here. Everything's drying up. The planet is slowly dying, and you get to see that in the magical creatures themselves. The magical beings, should I say, are being affected by it in a real way. So every time somebody comes across somebody that they used to know, whether it be a villain or a friend, they still have history. And it's funny to me how the villains of this particular series, the He-Man, they have a history. They're always fighting and hating each other, but yet in this series, they learn to work together and kind of put their differences aside. And hey, remember we had this fight, blah blah blah. But we're gonna be helping you, on your journey and whatnot. I just thought it was really different and unique to see
Yes,
both sides working together for a common good. In
goal.
other words, they needed to go ahead and restore the magic that's being lost. How can we do
Right.
that to stop the world that we live in too from being destroyed? Because if that goes, we're all not going to be here anymore. So they find ways to work together, which I thought was very unique. But everybody at the end of the day has their own agendas.
No, absolutely. And I will piggyback off of that. It's a refreshing take. It is an original take, and these are things you should love as a fan. Um, you've already seen He-Man time and time again, defeat Skeletor, and just because it's a new rendition doesn't mean that that should happen again, right? You want to see your heroes in new circumstances. You want to see them overcome new obstacles, and so there's a lot of new obstacles for Prince Adam, aka He-Man, to overcome in this series. Kevin Smith and his partner in crime, Mark Bernardin, the I forget what their Fat Man Beyond podcast co-hosts. Check their show out, love it. But yeah, I love so much about it. There's not a ton of action, but the action that is there, I want more of it. I do because it's so good. It's He-Man mixed with anime, directing and sort of fighting choreography. I think there could be more to it, though. Absolutely love it. There's a lot of drama, right? A lot of drama in this series, as well as something you kind of referenced earlier, pulls on the heartstrings from time to time. And these moments are very much earned. You are getting serious, dramatic, emotional beats in the series, and it's fantastic. At times, you remember like this is a cheesy '80s cartoon that I'm watching, and then there's these other times where like these are some serious emotional moments, but they work, and I love that. I love that they're striving for more, and I love that we have a lot more to see. I don't know if it's another half. Maybe it's part one, part two. I could probably see five more episodes happening. But where it leaves off, Skeletor wielding the Sword of Power, calling on the power of Grayskull, that's like the biggest cliffhanger I can think of. So I love where we left off, and I can't wait to see the rest of this show. Bravo, Kevin Smith, Mark Bernardin, you guys absolutely killed it. From the performances, the voice actors, to the animation style, which is it's crisp, it's vibrant. I love all the colors. I love the design of all the characters. It doesn't try too much. We're not trying to change what we know, the original design of these characters, too much. It really captures the essence of all of them very much so. So it's a fantastic series. If you haven't watched it, please check it out and please keep an open mind. Uh, this is a new story of these characters. We enjoyed it. We hope you do too.
Yeah, I greatly enjoyed it, and you never really see Skeletor as a bona fide villain being able to pull off such a heist, playing that long
Yeah,
game, and like you said, the big reveal at the end is he hid himself within the staff itself, his essence. And when He-Man came back and started, putting the calling on the power of Grayskull to put the magic back in Eternia, that's when he came out and last minute stabs him, with the
yeah.
sword and takes a hold of the sword of power and calls upon the power of Grayskull and seemingly leaves He-Man for dead. We don't know because the character didn't look like he perished, but he was mortally wounded. You know,
But it can't end that way, right? It just can't.
it
It
could,
can't.
it could. I mean,
But it can't.
it'd be interesting to see what
We'll see what
happens in
happens.
season two. Whenever they release that, but it was a good, enjoyable series. I liked it. It wasn't so um, cartoonish as far as it being a kiddie, movie. This was actually something that if you're an adult, you're gonna really get behind and enjoy the fresh take on He-Man. So give it a
There you go.
watch.
That's why I also think it deserves. It's not a critique by any means. It's not a deal breaker for me. But I think if you just would have put all these episodes as one long uh, part one film, then it doesn't feel so short. It feels more like a cohesive, long saga because that's what it really is. So much happened in these 5 episodes, but as just individual episodes, they're really quick. You're not getting too many actions within one of them. There's very few elements to it. It's like one thing happens in this episode, one thing happens in this episode, one thing happens in this episode. But as a whole movie, it would have had this complete adventure, I think, for some of these characters, right? Yeah, so many good components and elements to this series. Can't wait for more. And we want to hear from you guys. If you're watching us right now, if you're watching us at a later time, let us know what you thought about the Masters of the Universe Netflix series written by Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, or you can always message us by clicking the send message button on our Facebook page, or you can email us on the contact page of our website at www.countdowntothegeekcast.com. Joe, any final thoughts, man?
No, it was a good series. I enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. May recommend it. If you're a fan of He-Man, you're a fan of the original series, give it a watch. It's a definite watch on Netflix, and you'll enjoy it.
Absolutely. I want to know what Jeff thought because Jeff was
Oh Lord, have
real
mercy.
hesitant. Real
No,
hesitant
he
before
liked
it
it.
came out.
He liked it.
Did he?
Yeah,
Good.
he liked it a lot.
Awesome. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. For the Geekcast, my name is Steady. Be sure to join us next week when we review James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I've been talking about this film all year. James is an absolute sorcerer when it comes to writing and directing films. I just have the highest of expectations, and I still feel like he's going to surpass it. Roms, if you're still there, he's already gave his endorsement of it. I hope you get a chance to watch it. It'll be on HBO Max as well as in theaters. Watch it any way you want to, any way you can that is safe. And we hope you'll join us for our Geekcast review next week, every Monday night here on Facebook as well as YouTube. We also have the man behind the magic, the one and only Joe Garcia. We gotta go watch basketball, Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch a basketball game and keep an eye on NBA free agency, particularly what's going on with the San Antonio Spurs. So, got still
Absolutely.
lots of things to do. It's been a long day. I've done a lot of audio producing and video producing and doing stuff for Project Spurs, doing stuff for my own personal podcast, Two Shots Podcast. So there's gonna be more stuff coming out, cranking content out left and right as we get ready
Boom.
for the NBA
Boom.
season to start here.
Good stuff, man. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.